Hello my friends, I'm here with a more casual hype video than usual. We're not doing the usual production for reasons outlined in I did a whole video talking about the whole end of year video situation, so go watch that if you don't know what I'm talking about. Part of it though is just that Nintendo is going to be releasing a lot of games next year, and we just don't know what most of them are going to be because Switch 2 is all a big secret, so I don't know. There's a lot of reasons why it's a little more casual this year. I don't have an absolute ton of games that I'm super duper excited for. And I do regret to inform you that this more casual format does also mean no Smash Mouth jokes. I'm sorry. I don't you know what? I think I've kind of reached the end of that anyway. I don't really know how I can continue with the whole Smash Mouth gag. I'll figure that out next year, I guess. So without further ado, let us begin. What are the games I am most excited to play in the year 2025. First, I've got two honorable mentions. These are two games that I am excited for their existence, and I will be excited to play if I can finally get around to playing the games that came before them. The first is Little Nightmares 3. I only just finally played the first game. I've had my eye on it for a long time. Obviously, it's completely my kind of game. I do have some problems with it. It is a fairly flawed experience, but definitely one worth having just for the aesthetic, the fun, the scary, the set pieces, the artwork, just the scare factor. So very much fun. I'm very much looking forward to eventually playing Little Nightmares 3. Looks great. And the other game is Doom: The Dark Ages. I loved Doom 2016. Absolutely adored it. Just never got around to playing Doom Eternal. Doom Dark Ages looks really, really, really incredibly good. I hope that I can get to play Doom Eternal so I can play Dark Ages. Probably won't, but here's hoping. So on to the actual list. First, we've got Baby Steps. This was announced a good while ago. I think it was announced, was it 2022? I don't know, but it's been a good while, and we haven't really gotten any updates, and it's kind of weird, but I'm hoping that it comes out in 2025. I think most people are kind of fairly maybe confident that it will. The game is being developed by some of the people who did Ape Out, including Bennett Foddy, who you might recognize from Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy, that game where it's super hard and you're trying to climb up the mountain, and this is very much a similar concept where the controls are just kind of difficult, and that's kind of the point, and the whole thing is just kind of funny. I don't know, I was pretty captivated by the reveal trailer, just this idea of, it's like Getting Over It, but with a bigger budget. And it's just you're just learning how to walk with this weird system across this weird landscape. And I think I'm enchanted by the mystery of it. I really just don't know what kind of game it's going to be overall, or what kinds of places you might go. Clearly there's a big humor element in there, so I don't know, it looks weird, and I am pretty excited to play whatever it ends up being. Next, we've got Professor Leighton and the New World of Steam. We're getting a new Professor Leighton game. How exciting is that? And I have only played the first two games. I've been wanting to play the rest for a super long time. There's a bunch of games. I absolutely loved the first two games. Really, really greatly enjoyed them. They're super duper good. But you know how it is, trying to buy secondhand copies of DS and 3DS games that are out of print. It's a bit of a thing, so yeah, I haven't really gotten around to it. And then there was kind of part of me that thought, oh, I should probably play all of the old ones before I play the new one. But I think in this case, I'm just nah, I don't need to. I will play those other games eventually, but I'm fine just kind of skipping straight to World of Steam. I'm excited to play a modern Leighton game and just kind of see how it compares. It's hard for me to believe that it's going to match the charm of the DS versions. I really, really love how those games look with all the 2D art and everything. But I'm excited to see it modernized. And I'm just excited to play a new Professor Leighton game. I played those too, but that was years ago. That was quite a few years ago. So this is going to be my first Leighton game in a while, and I am heartily excited. I mean, there's really nothing quite like a Leighton game out there. There's so many games that are similar. There are so many puzzle games, obviously, but there is something about Professor Leighton. It is just so cozy. Yeah, cozy. The word cozy gets thrown around a lot, but heck, cozy is the right word. Professor Leighton games are cozy to the extreme. Next is Avowed. And here's the thing, I will completely admit, this is kind of like an honorary spot on the list. Avowed has, I mean, it's been on I think ever since I've started doing the hype list a few years ago. Avowed has been on it every time. And I think I might have actually reached the point where it's been too long and I don't care anymore. And I know that's funny. You know, you anticipate a game for so many, I don't know, my brain, it just gives up on the idea of playing this game. It's actually coming now. It's coming in a few months and it does look really good. I mean, you know, Obsidian, they do great work and I love any kind of, it's got the Bethesda RPG kind of like style, but at the same time, I have heard that it's probably not nearly as big, but that might actually be a good thing. I don't know. It's the RPG experience where it's at least kind of open-ended and you get a lot of like really good dialogue and story and quests and stuff. I think I probably will come around to it, and that's why I'm still putting it on the list, because it is a game I want to play, even if I'm feeling a little just tired, just kind of tired of waiting for it. I don't know. It does look good though, so yeah, sure. I am still looking forward to playing Avowed, and it's finally coming. Next is a game that I almost never remember exists. It's Pokemon Legends ZA. They revealed it what feels like a good while ago now, and they just haven't given us anything since. Just absolutely not even a thing. We got that initial teaser reveal, and that's been it. And I don't know, for some reason it is genuinely hard to remember that that's coming next year. That's the Pokemon game that we are getting next year. It's Pokemon Legends ZA, and so naturally I am very, very excited to play it. I loved Pokemon Legends Arceus, absolutely loved it. I feel that that is the direction that Pokemon should take. To me, that was the finest Pokemon experience in a very, very, very long time. It just captured the essence of like what I like about Pokemon. It gave me so many things that I had been wanting in Pokemon for such a long time. And so I'm very excited to see them hopefully evolve the formula. What I'm really hoping for, let's throw a wish. This is not the wish list, but I'm gonna throw a wish in here. I really hope it's cross-gen. I really hope there's a Switch 2 version that it looks and runs at least marginally better. I loved Arceus, but it stunk to see how the Switch kind of struggled to run it. Not nearly as bad as Scarlet and Violet. It was, compared to Scarlet and Violet, Legends Arceus was a finely polished experience. But I'm still hoping for it to be on Switch 2 as well, just because that would be fun. You know, first year of the Switch with a big, crazy, new Pokemon game to play. I would love that very, very, very much. And it would also very much benefit Nintendo now, wouldn't it? Of course, they're going to also sell it on the original Switch just because the install base is so huge and they want to, you know, make some money. Pokemon likes to make the money on the software sales, but like, I don't know, putting it on Switch 2 as well, that's a pretty nice selling point right there, especially if it actually does look and run better on Switch 2. Then like, I feel like that's going to push plenty of people to take the plunge. Next is Elden Ring Night Rain, and this is another one that's slightly iffy, just because like I'm still trying to figure out what I feel about the game, and I think that I'm not really gonna know how it's gonna turn out like until it releases. Like, I'm sure it's gonna be great. Like, I did a whole video on it. I'm completely sure it's gonna be great. You know, it's basically Elden Ring, but it's kind of boiled down into this like shorter roguelite kind of experience, big emphasis on co-op, and those are things that would normally kind of turn me off to a game. And yet I can't help but feel like if it is good enough to play single player, like if it's possible to play single player and have it be like still fun and still doable, possible for me, a pretty unskilled player, possible for me to actually make any progress at all, then there's a fine chance that I will get it and I will love the heck out of it. Or maybe the planets will align and I will find somebody to play. I mean, it's not about finding somebody. I will make the time and put forth the effort to play with friends. I don't know, it's not super likely. I don't get like these long stretches of time where I can just sit down and play games. I got too much going on. But I have to put this on the list because I know that if I do get it and I do play it and it does just kind of work out Whatever the case, so again, whether I end up doing co-op with people, I make time for it, or whether it just ends up working as a single player experience, it's Elden Ring, you know? It's Elden Ring. It's FromSoft. If it works for me, it is gonna work for me. And so I am still even if I'm slightly doubtful, I'm not getting my hopes up, I am still very, very, very excited to get it and to try it out and to see what it ends up being. Because I love Elden Ring. What else can I tell you? I'm a big fan of Elden Ring. I don't know if you noticed that. It's like kind of just like, I don't know. It's just like one of my favorite things in the world. So, you know, there's that. Next up, we've got Monster Hunter Wilds. Ooh, there's a big one. If there's any asterisk on this one, it is only, I hope I get time to play. That's really it, because apart from just simply having the time to play it, I really want to play it. I absolutely do. Monster Hunter Rise was my first Monster Hunter, and I got super duper into it. And but that's the thing. Despite the fact that I played Rise base game like a ton, loved the heck out of it, then life goes on and things change. And then Sunbreak, the huge expansion, came out for it. I didn't even touch it. I didn't even touch Sunbreak. I didn't even download Sunbreak, and I feel horrible about it. I really wanted to play it, but there you go. I can't always find the time for these games, and so that's why I'm scared. This is not one that's going to be easy to let pass me by. This is not one where I'm just going to be like, oh, well, there'll be other games, or maybe I'll play it later. I don't want that to happen. I really want to play Monster Hunter Wilds. It looks really, really incredible. They're taking everything that they have been doing and just making it bigger. It's a much more like big and connected and consistent world. And that idea is incredibly, incredibly exciting to me. And, you know, Rise looked and ran just unrealistically well on the Switch. It didn't even make sense how great that game looked and how well that it ran. But I am excited to play a Monster Hunter game on more powerful hardware. I'm really looking forward to that. The game looks really good. The monsters are super detailed. It just looks like a heck of a good time. They've introduced a bunch of new features that just look absolutely crazy, absolute game changers, and I can't wait to try it all out. So yeah, I sincerely, dearly, dearly hope that I get time to play Monster Hunter Wilds, because it is definitely like one of the coolest games coming out next year. It is something that I've really, really got my eye on. And now we come to number one. You already know what it is, and if you don't, it's only because you forgot. It's only because in this moment, you're doing that thing that I do literally every time anyone asks me a question about anything that I know about, and I know that I know the answer, but because you asked and because there's this like pressure in the moment to remember it, I can't remember it. My entire mind just goes completely blank, and that's the only reason why you would not know what I'm talking about right now. It's Metroid Prime 4. We finally know definitively Metroid Prime 4 is coming out next year. Yes, on the Switch. I was really, really hoping it was going to be either a Switch 2 game or a cross-gen game. We haven't had any indication so far that it's going to be cross-gen, which is a bummer. But whatever the case, though, even if I'm playing it on my original Switch, I will be playing it next year. I will be. I am completely confident that it will release next year. I think it will release before the launch of the Switch 2. So I think it'll probably be within the first few months of next year. I think that we're going to get new info on it pretty soon. I could be wrong, but I don't think that they were ever going to reveal it until they were like pretty close to the finish line, you know, until they were reasonably sure that they could get it to us not too long after the official full reveal. So it's finally happening. I mean, just they announced it 7 years ago, almost 8 years ago, and it's finally happening. And the Metroid Prime series, one of my favorite series, just like kind of ever. The original Metroid Prime is an absolute masterpiece in my eyes. Not a perfect game, but still an incredible, incredible experience, especially back when I first played it. And I don't know what Prime 4 is going to look like. I don't know how it's going to compare to the other games. I don't know if it's going to shake up the format at all, or is it just really going to kind of be another Metroid Prime game? I don't know, but you bet your bippy that I am out of my mind excited to play it, especially after the reveal. It was such a tease. It really didn't show a lot, but what it did show was very exciting, very, very beautiful. Oh gosh, especially the ending shot with the whole, like the jungle forest with the trees. Never mind, can't get into it. Can't get into it right now. You can probably tell I'm very excited to play Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. It is my #1 most hotly anticipated game of 2025, at least out of things that have been announced. So now we come on that note, we come to another sort of honorable mention. Switch 2, just like the Switch 2 itself, or, you know, whatever the next Nintendo system ends up being. Technically, we don't know officially that it's the Switch 2. But yeah, the Switch 2, that it's not a game, but I am very, 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 very excited for that. So I think it very much deserves a spot on the list, as well as 3D Mario. That is absolutely something. There's no confirmation whatsoever, no guarantee that we're gonna get a 3D Mario, even within the first year of the next system's life. We technically don't know, but I'm kind of counting on it. I mean, you know, it's fairly likely that it'll be in the first year. They have a track record of releasing the 3D Mario at, like, within the first year, usually like the following holiday season. They did it with the Switch, they did it with the Wii U, they did it with the 3DS. It's a thing that they like to do. However, I still think it's going to be a launch title. I don't know, I just think in this case, it makes sense. So I'm not betting money on it. Whatever the case, though, whatever the case, if we get a 3D Mario next year at all, whether it's a launch title or not, that's on my list. It's a big fat asterisk because it is not confirmed, it is not guaranteed, but I'm confident enough to put it here and say that I am very, very excited to play the next 3D Mario. If that game had been announced by now, I presume that it would probably be pretty darn high up on this list. Definitely in the upper tiers. Maybe even just below Metroid Prime 4. Probably. Well, my friends, those are the games I am most excited to play in the year 2025. Again, a little bit of a weird year, not being completely sure exactly what Nintendo is getting up to next year. It's a whole thing. But we're getting Metroid Prime 4, so that's enough to just delete everything else off the list if you need to. Metroid Prime 4. That is enough reason to keep being a person who exists here and plays video games into the year 2025. I will keep being a gaming YouTuber for another year because I know that I get to play Metroid Prime 4 next year. And you know what? I want to hear what you're excited to play next year. See, that's the thing. There are probably loads of games, especially indie games, that I would be super excited to play if I knew about them, but there's just so many games coming out, and I'm not up to date on all the ones that I may or may not want to play. So, yeah. Let me know what you're excited to play. Give me some recommendations. Drop some names of some cool games that I should keep an eye out for. What should I be hyped to play in 2025? Let me know. Fill in the gaps.